Inventory is rising, prices are softening, interest rates are up. You've probably seen those headlines, but you've probably also seen the opposite. Don't worry, inventory is still low, prices continue to rise, rates might be coming down. And with every shift in the market, people start asking the same question. Should I wait or should I make a move? The problem isn't the question. It's that most people are trying to answer it without a full picture, without a plan. They hear buzzwords like price reduction or days on market, but don't really understand what's driving those changes, or how to use that information to make a smart decision. That's why market awareness matters. It doesn't just help you make better choices, it helps you stay confident when the market gets noisy. Hi, and welcome to another edition of Bryan Montross Talks Real Estate, where I help you with the groundwork, guidance, and goals needed for buyers, sellers, and investors to cut through the noise, spot real opportunities, and build long-term success in real estate. In today's video, I give you a better understanding of what's really happening in the market right now, what's driving those headlines, and what it means for you if you're thinking about buying, selling, or just watching from the sidelines. The first thing I want to do is to clear up some of the confusion, because the headlines are all over the place. Headlines are designed to grab attention. One might say inventory is up, while another says inventory is still historically low. And they're both technically true, because one might be comparing to last year, while the other is comparing to 5 years ago. That's the tricky part about this market. The information we get is inconsistent. So unless you're tracking the numbers every day, it's easy to miss the big picture. And that's where working with someone who watches the market closely makes a real difference. I don't just look at the headlines, I look at what they mean and how they impact your decisions, whether you're buying, selling, or investing. So let's talk about what's actually happening right now, based on some data. Inventory is up. Nationwide, there are about 24.8% more homes on the market than this time last year. That's great news if you're a buyer looking for options. But zoom out 5 years, and inventory is still about 13% below pre-pandemic levels. So while conditions are loosening, we're not back to normal yet, and supply is still tight in many markets. Homes are beginning to sit longer. The average days on market is 58 days. That's 7 days longer than last year, and 5 days longer than just a month ago. But here's the thing. That pace is actually close to what we saw back in 2017 to 2019, when we were still in a seller's market, and inventory was higher. So just because homes are sitting longer doesn't necessarily mean we're in a buyer's market now. Price reductions are also climbing. In May, 19.1% of homes had a price cut, the highest May figure in Realtor.com's records going back to 2016. In June, Zillow reported that 26.6% of active listings had a price drop, a 5-year high. This also doesn't necessarily mean the market favors buyers. To me, it shows that many sellers are pricing too high at first, and then having to adjust expectations along the way. And once again, this is where having the right real estate agent on your side makes a big difference. So no, the market isn't crashing, but it is changing. And if you or your real estate advisor aren't paying attention to what's behind the headlines, you could miss opportunities or misread the risks. So let's talk about what all this means if you're a buyer in today's market. First, the good news. You don't have to put in an over-asking, no contingencies offer the minute a home hits the market. You've got more options now. Inventory is up. Homes are sitting a little longer. And more sellers are adjusting their expectations. That doesn't mean it's a fire sale out there, but it does mean you have room to think, ask smart questions, and negotiate. This is the time to really pay attention to the details. How long has that home been on the market? Has the price dropped since it was listed? What's happening with similar homes nearby? You don't necessarily have to rush, but you do need to be informed. I still hear a lot of buyers say they can't afford to buy right now. And when I ask why, they'll say something like, well, I need 15 or 20% down and I just don't have that. That's one of the biggest myths still floating around. The truth is, most first-time buyers today are putting down only around 9%. And some loan programs go as low as 3.5% down. Combine that with some state-specific down payment assistance, and some buyers are purchasing their first home with far less than they expected. So if you're holding back because of outdated information, you might be waiting for the wrong reasons. Market awareness doesn't just help you find a home, it helps you buy the right home at the right time with the right plan. Now, if you're a seller, here's what I want you to take away from this. Homes are still selling, but they're not selling the way they were in 2021. Back then, almost anything could go under contract in a weekend. No staging, no prep, no pricing strategy. That's not the market we're in today. Today, buyers have more choices. They're looking longer. They're asking more questions. And they're more cautious, especially after seeing interest rates go up and down. That means you have to do more to stand out. The two things I see that trip up sellers right now are overpricing their home and skipping the preparation. When you overprice, even slightly, you run the risk of sitting on the market. And once that new listing buzz fades, buyers start wondering what's wrong. That's when you end up doing a price reduction and possibly leaving money on the table. The better approach? Price strategically from day one and put effort into presentation. Homes that are well prepared and priced right are still moving quickly and often at strong prices. That doesn't mean you have to fully renovate before selling, but touching up some paint, replacing the worn carpet, and decluttering can dramatically improve how buyers perceive your home. And that affects both interest and final sales price. Pair those simple steps with professional photos and strong marketing, and you're going to stand out, even in a more competitive market. If you've been thinking about listing, this is where having an advisor who understands what buyers are seeing makes a real difference. Market awareness isn't just about timing the market. It's about knowing how to position your home in the market you're in. So here's the bottom line. Whether you're buying, selling, or just keeping an eye on things, market awareness gives you the edge. You don't need to guess where the market is going. You don't need to chase every headline. And you definitely don't need to go through it alone. What you need is clear understanding of what's happening right now and a strategy that makes sense for your goals. If that's something that you're looking for, reach out. I'd love to help you look at your options, sort through the noise, and build a plan that works for you. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tips and advice on all things real estate. Thank you for watching. And once again, I'll leave you with this verse. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. This is Bryan Montross, your real estate advisor.